As we saw before, what we just did was we photographed lots of different shots in the space of about 10 to 20 minutes using one location, one light source. We photographed a girl on her own as a couple and then him on his own as well. And I wanted to show you how economical we can be, how resourceful we can be, and how many spreads of an album we can get by simply slowing down and thinking about the wedding album as we shoot. So I've just imported these photographs into Fundy software, Fundy Album Builder, and I want to give you an idea of how I design albums. Okay, now there's many ways that you can design albums in this software. Of course, you can get it to design your own album. I can just, at a click of a button, I can get this to design what it believes to be a great album, and it's actually pretty fantastic for what it is. I like a little bit more creative control because I had the idea of the album in mind. Why don't I actually show you how I would do it in reality? So this kind of process that I'm doing right now, I would pre-design a wedding album before I meet with the client, and I'm going to show them what my choice is, the artist's choice. This is what I would do. This is my wedding album, okay? Now, as you can see up here, we've got a blank canvas, blank spread. We've got these two shots, and what I would normally do on a wedding day, or for a wedding, I would just click the two that I want, drag them up, not think about it, just let it go. All right, now I remembered this one was out of focus. I actually clicked the camera before I wanted to, but I remember these two were actually in focus, no problem. Let's move along here. You can see though, now just remember correctly, this is every shot that I've actually taken. So you're not seeing any more or less than what I actually did. But can you see how the album is already designing itself? Now that might be a spread. Not the most exciting of spreads, but nonetheless it is. There's a few giggles there. Okay, so I'm going to want the best giggle. And that will be, say, that. Whoops, let's just put that down a little bit. Okay, all right. I find that very funny. I don't know about you guys. And let me just put that on the side there for a bit. That's really cute too. Let's just bring that there somewhere. Okay, you see how many spreads we've got so far, and all we've done is photograph one girl with one light source in one location. Then we've got the groom. Let's do that. There's a spread already. That's going to look pretty cool as is. Nice masculine spread there as well. Again, not worrying about what it looks like at this stage. Do you see why I've made it more difficult for myself in that one location is because it's harder to make the shots look different enough to warrant a different spread. Make sense? Because the color palette, the lighting, everything is very similar. So you need different shots. Mood, cropping, feeling, lens choice, and so on and so forth. All right, nice laughy groom. Took a few shots in a row. Let me see, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm looking for him there, looking away. All right. And you know what? I might even add that. Can you see how when the subject is animated, how I've taken more photographs? When they're less animated, why would I take 50 shots in one particular scene knowing that I'm only going to sell one spread of a wedding album? Well, I wouldn't. All right, so now, how many spreads do we have so far? How many sides have we sold? 22 sides we've sold. I like that one. There's more spreads here. Okay, now we've got the giggly ones. Let's just have a look. You see how, because of the reaction, I need some more? Okay, they're the ones that I like, but what else have I got? Oh, I was a bit trigger happy there, wasn't I? That's a lot for me. Normally, I'm nowhere near as much, to be honest, but when they're moving and animating and stuff like that, I quite like that one. Let's just park that one over there. And let's maybe drag that one next to it. All right, let's keep on going. All right. I've got these two shots here. There's another spread. You see how we focus on her first. We've got soft and sexy and serious, whatever, and then we've got more giggly. Now, I actually think one of these ones could warrant a spread on its own. You see straight away that looks great, right? Now we have giggly versions of those, if that's a word. Seeing which ones I like. See, sometimes when you're photographing, you've got to think like two photographers. You photograph in one direction, you take the shot, then press the pause button. Either you turn or they turn. Why did they turn? Because the light was coming from one direction. So picture your couples or subjects on a turntable, spin them around, and you'll be amazed at what you get. I actually quite like that one. I love that one. I took quite a few here from memory, but I'm actually going to choose those two. Nice one. And they were giggling, having some fun there together. That could be another spread, I don't know, maybe. And then they were just giggling. Okay. Are we happy with that? Yes. We haven't overdone that, have we? Like, I haven't stretched out the album just for the sake of selling more. Yeah. Now let's go in there and let's see what we would do different. Now, part of me for turning it to this screen, I've got a couple of screens going, so I might look to there, but I don't have something in front of me. So let's see how we go. All right, guys. So what I'm thinking here with this particular spread, now there's a couple of things I can do. I could manually just change them up if I want to, or I could just view this, view some layouts. And what Fundy will do is give me lots of different examples of things that might be fun. So I'm thinking, you know what? This is as close to what I want. So let me select that. Let me grab this, flip this, pull that over, and now we have a spread. We've sold it, right? So how much do you sell your spreads for? Let's say you sold them for $100, let's say. You've just sold $100 worth in seconds. All right, we're happy. Let's go next spread. That's pretty damn close already, right? But let's have a look. What I like about this software, among many things, is that if I like to go full frame and see what's full frame, I can just go 3 by 2. I want to see every square inch of that particular frame that I photographed. So let me pick the closest one that I actually quite like. Now here's the thing. Because I've cropped really close here, this is what I want, but I've got to allow bleed for the actual album. Okay, so just so you know, what I'm actually designing right now is a Graphy Studio 12 by 16 wedding book. So I'm thinking, if I choose this one, do you see how if anything's going to have some negative space around it, it'll be this one. I can afford to crop closer on this. So what I'll do is I'll grab this image and I'll put the guides in and I'll press G, bring this all the way over, and now that's where I've got the shot. This one, do you see how it's got these green guides and the red? The red is like where Graphy will chop it to make it completely even. And then the green is the safe zone. But I've actually worked out, I've actually tested it. The Graphy cut lines are actually very accurate. In other words, just beyond the red is exactly where it's going to pretty much chop. So if I want everything even, what I normally do is I go to this little spot here, and then I can press fit and drag it there, and there's my spread. You see how those photographs even told me what to do. Negative space on the left-hand side pushes your eye this way. I can't have the album chopping in because this is so critical, this crop. Therefore, I have negative space. And I quite like the idea of having full bleed on one side and then a bit of balance on the other. Otherwise, it's too predictable. Let me show you. If I was to do this, see how it just doesn't feel right? Watch this. I don't know, it's just too predictable. The negative space doesn't make sense. It's almost like think of it like a pond. We've just got a pool. There's no harmony there, it's just predictable. But now, if I do something like this, watch this, go back to where it was and let me just press Command Z, that looks so much better. All right, let's go next. All right, so what am I looking at here now? I'm thinking I could easily switch these Again, I need this negative space. It's very, very important to me. Do I have enough space in the cut zone? I probably do. See how I've still got that eye in, I've still got the shape of her lips, I've still got everything that I need in there. You see that? Okay, so I'm happy with that. Then I'm gonna flip this. Oh, you know what? No, I quite like that. I like that repetition, but you know what? I wanna switch them. That seems more better, that's better to me. But let me flip that and see if that works. Oh man, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? It's a hard one. I actually there's so many ways you can design here, right? But that safe zone, I'm still within it. I'm totally fine with that. I actually quite like that. What do you think? I don't know. Or this. That's better, isn't it? It's more, there's repetition and it sort of leads you out. Remember, if you have negative space behind a subject, it's more mysterious. If you have negative space in front, it's more harmonious. Most people or most textbooks will tell you should have a negative space in front of someone. That's the Jerry Ghionis of 40 years ago telling you that. Why is he right and why am I wrong? Do what you need to do to actually to be more effective. In other words, any choice that you make for a photograph is going to help communicate a message you're trying to convey to the viewer of the image. I actually quite like that. There's some harmony there. This deserves to be off an edge, and that feels right to me. So I quite like that. I think I'm going to stick with that. All right, and we take that away. All right, so now I want to see what these look like full bleed. So let's pick the obvious ones. So I quite like the idea of this. Again, let's bring the guides back. You see how she's a little bit bigger in the frame, but when you're shooting it and you're going closer, it feels nice when it sort of goes up and down for that matter if it went the opposite way, but I quite like this. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to put this on right on the edge. There's a few ways of doing this. You can double click this and then you can just drag it, or you can justify it with the justify tool if you wish. But I quite like now that what we're doing is we've got a theme now where usually if we're putting two photographs, one is bleeding off to the edge and one has a white border around it. And I think that actually works, don't you think? Simple, subtle little change, slightly closer, one looking off, and it works. All right, let's go to the next one. So here I thought it'd be fun to show 3 shots because now we've got 3 shots that are all harmonious. See before how it was soft and sexier, now it's a bit more fun and playful. So I think that I actually quite like what we're doing here. You see how it's a Brady Bunch effect. You've got the girl looking in here, middle is static, it looks into the viewer, and then this one looks off. It actually makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make sense in this one is this shot, wouldn't you agree? Because I've taken that more fuller laughing, then I went closer, doesn't feel right. I have room to play. Now either I crop into the hairline, but the hands chopped off look a bit funny, or I might just simply enlarge it. Now, although Fundy software can design a really great automated album, it can't think like a human, it's impossible. So either you choose it to just do everything for you and tweak it, or do what I'm doing is using half automated and half brain power, so to speak. So now, you see how now that works a lot better? Quite like that much better. Like how cool is that as a spread in an album? Now, every so often, you want to put the guides on and see where the spine falls. The good thing about the Graphy Studio album, when it's flush mount, you can hardly see the crease. There's not a problem. It's sort of almost seamless. But my rule is I try never to have a seam or spine in an eyeball. On a nose, on a face, I don't care. On an eyeball, no. But I'm happy with that. That looks beautiful. Let's move on. Okay, love these shots. Let's just have a look and see. This just takes the thinking away for you, because in your mind you think, I wonder how it'll look in all these different ways. You can either look at this, you can just keep on going with the designs and saying, I wonder how many ways this can actually work, or just simply choose a path. What do you think works here? Think about it. What are the photographs telling you on how this should be designed? Look at the negative space, look at the density of the image. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong here, I'm just saying this is just my feeling or my perspective. See this shot, how there's a lot of dead space here. For me, that feels heavy. That means you to go to the left. It's telling me, Jerry, you've got to go to the left with that, which means I might want to do something, actually even this looks good, that crop. Look how sharp her eyeball is. Leave some breathing space above the brow where it's going to be chopped. Then we have this image, and I might just bring that up a little bit and then fit it. How's that for a design? Repetition, but one simple change of angle and perspective and crop gave me a different design. All right, can you believe how many sides we've done in the space of minutes, as in when we were shooting it and we were designing it? Now, I quite like this, but I actually want it full bleed. So how about we do something like this? You see how it's forcing you to look left and right. The photographs told me what to do, but I told myself what to do. I told you when I was shooting this is what I wanted to do. You see how that negative space just sort of bleeds in? That is static movement, bang off the page. Works well. Let's go next. Now, there's a bit cropping out of this. Okay. You see what we're doing before? I believe this is as close as we're going to get. Now, what did I say? I want to bring this to the corner because we're following on a theme that we've already done with the design. Oops, a bit off there. This should be full bleed. Do I have enough room for breathing space on the cut line? Let's have a look, make sure we do. Yep. All I want is breathing space above his brow, which I do. So now, look at that independently. It's a cool masculine groom spread, don't you think? Are you thinking to yourself, now damn it, how many weddings did I waste opportunities where I could have sold more spreads and wedding albums? It's okay. This is the cool thing. Today's a different day. We can change it. We can move on. We can try something different. Now, this one, again, same exposure, haven't moved an inch, exact same location, works really well. I actually like the idea of a lot of negative space here now. I wonder if we have any more of those. You see how that suits more left and that suits more right because it just flows again. You see how there's this constant flow? Remember, our eyes read from top left to bottom right once you're starting to look at an image or a spread. So what I'll be doing here now is, I want this there, and I quite like the idea of having negative space around this area. It'd be a lot easier if the thing's in front of me here, guys. So I'm just trying to work this out. Oh, I didn't even realize. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, let's keep on going. We've still got more shots of him. Now, I quite like the idea of actually getting him to just laugh and carry on and stuff like that. What do you guys like? There's actually a few that I like there. I'm actually liking this. It's probably the closest one, would you say? I like it because it's quite cinematic. But what I'm thinking though is I want everything in that one area. So all I simply do is I drag this out. I love the idea of that cinematic feel where you've got left to right and then you've got this negative space on the top and the bottom. Now let's see what logically works better. That works better, doesn't it? You've got looking away, looking there, looking back, and there's just a beautiful harmony in that. Don't you think? We've sold another spread simply by changing the mood and changing the crop. All right, let's keep on going. All right, so now we've got them as a couple. I don't mind that one. Do you see how that lends itself to being to the left? That one is piercing. It's making me want to look straight. So therefore it feels, there's more of a flow there, I think. So let's have a look. And sometimes what I'll do, guys, is I won't always go extreme left and extreme right. I will actually, I'll put some negative space both on the right-hand side. For example, another way of doing this, guys, is this. You can go to this tool and justify it to the left. apart from the way that I was showing you. I quite like this. This is fun. See how every square inch of this image is actually really important, hence my logic for keeping negative space surrounding both of them. Make sense? All right, let's keep on going. All right, let's have a look at these shots. You know what I quite like the idea of? Actually, let me think for this for a second. Let me think. I think I like that, but let's switch it. See how that feels. See how that is almost like a vignette framing, and it feels like this should be on the right. It's justified to the right, and there needs to be full bleed. I can't tell you that this is right or wrong. My instinct is telling me that that's the way it should be. Now this one, I feel like it needs to be full bleed. There's just a beautiful power to this shot, and possibly I might even go over this side. Hold on a second, let me get this again. I'll go over the spine here, up into a point where I don't think I can. You know what? No, that doesn't feel right, does it? Something's missing. My instinct was telling me to go there, but I think I might go to the spine and stay there. Perfect. Beautiful. What do you think? If this was you, would you buy it? So now we're giggling. There's two expressions. They're slightly different, but I'm thinking it's fun. What I'm thinking is, though, that maybe we get her giggling out. Oh, that was a bit creepy though. Sometimes it can look good, sometimes it can look a little bit weird. Let me go back. I think we'll stay there. I'm happy with that. I like how sometimes it can either be straight and perfectly, like the head to toe is exactly the same, or I like it where it gradually goes out or gradually goes in. I'm happy with that. Changed the mood again, didn't we, guys? We changed the mood again. Quite like this one. Now, sometimes, every so often, guys, I'll go back to the layout and I'll have a look at what I've done. Now, do you see this spread here? Where the negative space is here and here. Subconsciously, I want to fill that void for you. So, I will do the exact opposite. Because I have more room to play here, I'm going to switch these. So this one can go off. Now, is it? This one can go off to the right completely. Justify it to the right. And then get this . No, I want to go on the spine here. So let me go right to the spine. And let me even fit it and go a little bit closer. Yeah, love that. Isn't that cool? Now this one was worthy of going a bit bigger again. Here's two things I don't like about this crop. Cropping in Era, I hate. She's a gorgeous girl, but I think in this shot, it makes her forehead look a bit generous. Hashtag her forehead looks big, right? So if I simply just bring that up, I actually think it's more about her than him. I could include the eyes, but then her forehead looks massive because I've cropped it like that. But really, I mean, her eyes are killer. Let's see where the spine goes. That's okay, it's not on an eyeball, it's totally fine. I love that. Can you imagine? See, anything that's a wow factor, a feature, if you do it too many times, it's no longer a feature. You do it once and it's a hero. You do it 3-4 times, it's no longer a feature at all. That's practically done, right? But for the sake of the argument, I'm going to go full bleed again. You see what I did? I didn't flip it afterwards. I flipped it when I was shooting it. In other words, he was facing the light, then I flipped them, then she was facing the light. So the cool thing is that they both get great light, but then you put it in an album, and how harmonious does that look? It's beautiful. See, this could be another one like that. I don't know about that one. Let me look. Well, let's call this the fastest engagement session that we've ever done. It's 20 minutes and I need to end off the album. This is where what I might do is I'll finish off on the left-hand side. When I finish off an album, guys, I normally like to finish like that. The first spread in the wedding album, sometimes I do the right-hand side, but sometimes I do a full spread. Now, let's review our design, okay? And baby, come closer if you want to have a look here. Let's see the screen, full screen. Yeah, they can cut that out. All right, guys. So we've designed our album. What did that take? 15 minutes? It would have taken less if I didn't have to explain it, of course. I didn't have to teach about it or anything like that, or even my problem solving out loud. But have a look at what we've done. We've taken 20 minutes, one light source, one location. Look at the shots that we've done. There's one spread. There's another. Different cropping, different mood, different cropping, different angle. Then we went wider. Then we went all giggly. Then we changed positioning, compose. Then we got him involved. Masculine shots, cool looking, shots, laughing, different crops, creative crops. So you see how I did more focus on him and now more on her? Then both of them, changing the mood and the crop, lens choice. Then I've changed it again. That's worthy of a spread. That's giggly. You wouldn't put giggly with that, would you? A layperson would know that. And then we end up with a really warm and fuzzy. So, how many sides have we done? We have sold 34 sides. And I'm suggesting that if you don't take your couple out and play with them on location and have some fun, or you're a photojournalist and you don't take any more pictures than the story in front of you, you're missing out on 34 sides of a wedding album. This could be likened to an engagement session. Can you imagine one light source in your studio, come in, half an hour, let's sell a 30-sided album, out the door, few grand later, life is good, time for pool and pool toys. Any questions? Any questions at all? How do you feel right now? How do you feel about that experience of shooting, of seeing it, and now you're seeing it like this, it's so easy. How do you feel about the next shoot that you're going to do? What will this change in you? Think about it. Am I being a used car salesman by giving them so much choice? No, you guys look incredible and incredibly different on every single spread. Same light source, same location, same background. I changed the mood by simply cropping and perspective and lens choice. I'm saying, what a crying shame. Although these look beautiful on the screen, imagine when they're retouched. Imagine when they're in the physical form to celebrate the legacy of this couple being together as a couple, or whether it's an engagement or whether it's a wedding. And that's what I'm suggesting, guys, is you cannot beat the physical product. But first comes with intent, shooting with purpose, and understanding how to make things look similar enough to go together, but different enough to warrant a different spread. So in summary, slow down. I want you to pause. Take the shot. As soon as you take that first photograph, what's going to go with it now? Take that shot, zoom up to it. Many of those spreads, I took 2 shots. The exact number of shots that I took for those spreads is what I took. The giggling ones, yeah, I took quite a few more to get that the right shot. But in summary, slow down, shoot for the wedding album, design the pages of the album as you shoot, and not only will they get a beautiful big album because of it, you'll also be more profitable because you're giving them more choice and they're irresistible.